सब्सक्राइब कीजिए मल्टी सॉल्यूशन चैनल को एंड बेल आइकन को दबाइए लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी वीडियो सबसे पहले देखने के लिए।
In 1632, Hazarfen flew from the very top of the Galata Tower and soared across the Bosphorus. And so the Turks learned how to fly.
The saltiness of the sea, the sourness of the lemon.
Fresh fish, only the gulls eat fresher.
The rest night knows, and we, and the tower that sees, and the light that showed me a path through the sea. Justinian sent 2 monks from here out on the Silk Road to China to steal the secret of Chinese cloth. They returned with silver and eggs, and from them hatched an empire.
It is a dance where the dancer grows through love towards the truth and finally
reaches perfection.
To the city, Istanbul. To the city.
In Istanbul, there are always two cities, 2 speeds, slow and fast. It stands always, the world's capital.
Embark on a journey where you can retrace the footsteps of the Fellowship, enjoy epic adventures of your own, and experience legends come to life. From its active volcanoes, deep glacier lakes, unique wildlife, and dazzling fjords, one thing's for sure. In this nation of Kiwis, there will never be a dull moment. Steady yourself as Tour Radar's ultimate travel guide reveals everything you need to know about this truly remote island paradise. So travelers, are you ready? Welcome to New Zealand. Let's start with the basics. This beautiful island nation is home to just over 4.5 million people, many of whom go by the self-appointed nickname Kiwi. This slang is derived from the country's national symbol, a flightless bird called, you guessed it, the kiwi. The country itself is formed by two main land masses, the North Island and the South Island, as well as about 600 other smaller islands. New Zealand as a whole is quite modest in size, similar in landmass to Japan. Wellington is the capital city of New Zealand, and also the southernmost capital city in the world, while Auckland, the original capital city, is the largest Polynesian city and goes by the name the City of Sails, which makes sense when you consider Auckland has more boats per capita than any other place in the world. What else does New Zealand have more of than the entire planet? Sheep. Hopefully you're a fan of these furry farm animals because there are about 7 to every resident, which works out to nearly 30 million sheep. Your mum won't have to worry about you throughout your Kiwi adventure either, because New Zealand has remained firmly in the top 10 safest countries to call home for several years running. They're also comfortably progressive, having been the first major nation to allow all citizens the right to vote regardless of gender. There are 3 official languages in New Zealand: English, Maori, and New Zealand Sign Language, but you'll be able to get by just fine with English. Now, whether you're looking to uncover the Maori way of life, hit the slopes, or sample delicious wine, there's plenty of diverse adventures to enjoy. So let's take a closer look. New Zealand is renowned for its world-class hiking trails. Breathtaking views await you in Fiordland National Park, which includes 4 major tracks: Milford, Kepler, Routeburn, and Hollyford. While Milford is perhaps the most famous, hikers of each track can expect to enjoy views of forested valleys, diverse birdlife, turquoise waters, expansive lakes, and truly spectacular mountain scenery. For Lord of the Rings fans, a visit to Tongariro National Park, where you can behold the jagged volcanic rock and eerily barren landscape, should be considered a must. Hopefully the moody weather cooperates during your visit and you'll be granted a view of Mount Narahoe, otherwise known as Mount Doom. Hiking the entire alpine crossing takes about 7 hours and includes lava fields, tussock meadows, and the neon turquoise geothermally heated waters of the Emerald Lakes. If beaches are more your thing, New Zealand has a hike for that too. Along the Abel Tasman Coast Track, travellers can enjoy more than 40 kilometres of golden sand beaches, subtropical bushline, and granite cliffs accented by clear azure waters and frolicking fur seals. Keep in mind that several tidal inlets mean that you'll be required to time your crossings with low tide, so plan accordingly. Along New Zealand's Otago coast, you can see the mysterious Moeraki boulders, beachfront stones formed from ancient sea sediments. An equally mesmerizing and seemingly perplexing sight would be the famous Waitomo Caves, thrill seekers can abseil down into this lost world, which takes about 20 minutes and provides impressive views of spaghettites and gigantic flowstone formations on the way down. Once you've lost yourself in the isolation and majesty of nature, grab a few of your fellow travel companions and go jet boating through Queenstown's Shotover River, or tackle the currents of Tutea Falls along the Kaituna River in Rotorua, the highest commercially rafted waterfall in the world. Of course, there's always ziplining, bungee jumping and skydiving. Each offer unique and exhilarating views of places like Rotorua, Auckland Harbour and Queenstown respectively, though you can enjoy any one of these thrill-seeking experiences pretty much anywhere throughout the country. If you want to take things a tad slower, hit up one of New Zealand's countless golf courses. Enjoy the stunning greens that can be found in Auckland, Queenstown and Wellington. For the snow bunnies, strap on your skis and fly to the top of Queenstown's mountains to enjoy a refreshingly exciting ski down world-renowned peaks and valleys. Within 20 minutes from downtown Queenstown, you'll be at the foot of Coronet Peak, and within 35, the Remarkables, a range that lives up to its name and is a must for any snowboarder or skier out there. Once the weather warms up, you can catch the surf on the curving Bay of Plenty or along the untouched beaches of Gisborne. And if you really want to show off your surfing skills, then head to Wangamatta, situated on the southeast coast of the Coromandel Peninsula in the North Island. But maybe you're just looking to kick back and enjoy that well-earned break. That's certainly all right, and you picked the right destination to escape to. You can catch a kapa haka performance of the Maori people, indigenous New Zealanders, and enjoy chants and choral singing to graceful songs and ferocious war dances. Consider visiting Maori meetings grounds called marae and take part in a pawhiri, a traditional welcoming ceremony. Or, if you wish to get literary, take a tour of Hobbiton in Hamilton, Waikato and see J.R. Tolkien's epic story brought to life with a wander through the heart of the Shire. You could stop by the Green Dragon Inn or visit Bag End. But what time of year does one journey to Middle-earth? Fall? Spring? Winter? Well, just to be clear, there's never a bad time to travel to a place like New Zealand, though travellers should be ready for weather that can change unexpectedly regardless of the time of year. However, most places throughout the country receive over 2,000 hours of sunshine a year, and because of the low levels of air pollution, the sunlight is especially radiant. While the far north has subtropical weather during summer, and inland alpine areas of the South Island can be as cold as -10 degrees Celsius or 14 degrees Fahrenheit in winter, most of the country lies close to the coast, which means mild temperatures all year round. New Zealand's summer runs from December to February and should be considered the peak travel season. It's also considered the perfect time for enjoying activities like hiking, scenic driving, winery tours, and surfing. If you're lucky, you can catch a wave alongside dolphins off the country's long coastline. Autumn settles in from March to May, and the views of the fall foliage are truly something to behold. Winter lasts from June to August, and this is when you can expect the ski season to begin to flourish. Spring temperatures are enjoyed from September through November, and offer a beautiful combination of spring blossoms and snow-capped mountains. Once you've satisfied your desire to explore, it's time to sit down and enjoy some delicious local cuisine. And just what is waiting for you at the dining table? Let's find out. New Zealand's cuisine draws on Polynesia, Asian and European inspiration, and the results are staggeringly delicious. A typical Kiwi breakfast consists of cereal, toast, and either a cup of coffee, tea, juice, or milk. On weekends, when more time is available to prepare a cooked breakfast, locals sit down to plates of scrambled eggs, bacon, cooked tomatoes, mushrooms, hash browns, and baked beans. After a long morning outdoors, you'll need to enjoy a quick hot pie to re-energize. These tasty small pastries come in a variety of flavors and are typically filled with mince and cheese, bacon, egg, and even steak. Once the evening rolls around, enjoy servings of roast lamb, mutton, and of course, battered fish and chips. Due to New Zealand's long coastline, the selection of seafood is quite diverse. Succulent oysters, mussels, shellfish, king salmon, snapper, scallops, and whitebait. A true Kiwi delicacy. If you're looking for a refreshing dessert to top off your day of indulging your taste buds, then help yourself to pavlova, a meringue-based dessert named after the Russian ballerina Anna Pavlova. But what should you wash down all these tasty foods with? Of course, you can enjoy your share of refreshing beers and ciders, but New Zealand is mainly renowned for its many exquisite wines. Sommeliers praise the country's take on Sauvignon Blanc as being the best in the world. Other wines highly regarded include Cabernet Merlot blends and Pinot Noir, to name a few. Spectacular. Once you've allowed your thirst to be both quenched and delighted by New Zealand's unique libations, it'll be time to begin mapping out your next adventure through this oceanic paradise.
Rome rises from the Lazio region in the central west of Italy. Cradled between the Apennine Mountains and the Tyrrhenian Sea, the city of 7 hills is home to almost 3 million people. According to legend, Rome was founded by twin brothers Romulus and Remus 700 years before the birth of Jesus Christ. And it was here, on Palatine Hill, that the foundations for the city were laid. A city that would soon become Caput Mundi, the capital of the world. Below the birthplace of Rome lays the Roman Forum, the Foro Romano. Filled with temples, monuments and markets, the Forum was the center of public life in ancient Rome and the most celebrated meeting place in the world. When the Roman Empire fell in the 5th century, the Forum was reduced to a cow pasture. Ah, desolazione! But the 8 columns of the Temple of Saturn and the Arch of Septimius refused to crumble. In the 17th century, young European travelers came to Rome searching for the roots of Western civilization. This hunger for Rome's antiquities led to their preservation, and still the travelers come from all corners of the globe. Surviving earthquakes and centuries of stone thieves, the Colosseum remains the most enduring symbol of ancient Rome. Across 4 centuries, tens of thousands gladiators, slaves and Christians died in a blaze of glory or martyrdom. On the nearby Arch of Constantine, an inscription bears the words, "Inspired by the Divine." The Pantheon was a place to worship all the gods, from Juno, the god of fertility, to Mars, the god of war. Step beneath the domed central oculus and stand in the same divine light that has bathed emperors, gladiators, merchants and travelers for almost 2 millennia. Once a stadium, today Piazza Navona is one of Europe's great squares. The thundering crowds and chariots have long faded, replaced by a trio of fountains, Baroque architectures, artists, and the aroma of Rome's best coffee. No Roman holiday is complete without making a wish at the Trevi fountain. Toss 1 coin into the Trevi and one day you will return to Rome. Toss 2 coins and you will fall in love with a Roman. If you're not looking for love, relax on the steps with a gelato. Rome is a city of elegant bridges too. Ponte Sant'Angelo was built by the Emperor Hadrian in the 2nd century as part of the grand entranceway to his mausoleum. Rome may no longer be the capital of the world, but it has long been the center of Christianity. Today, modern pilgrims continue to cross the river, guided by the bridge's angel as they make their way to one of the world's great squares, Piazza San Pietro, St. Peter's Square. And here stands the world's largest church, St. Peter's Basilica. Filled with masterpieces by Bernini, Giotto and Raphael, St. Peter's crowning glory is her dome, designed by the brightest star of the Renaissance, Michelangelo. From the dome, look down upon the Holy Square, where two colonnades reach out like open arms, welcoming the faithful who gather in their thousands to receive blessing from the Pope. As the sun sets on Rome, head to the island sanctuary of Isola Tiberina. Let the rushing waters of the river Tiber soothe your senses and enjoy traditional Roman recipes that have been perfected by generations of Italian grandmothers. This is just an appetizer, an aperitivo of what awaits in the Eternal City. To really taste all of Rome's treasures can take a lifetime, but be warned, it only takes a moment for Rome to forever conquer your heart.
Grand Canyon is more than just a view, more than just a two-dimensional landscape. There are so many lessons and ways to explore Grand Canyon. It is a laboratory. It is a virtual classroom. The diversity here is unparalleled. There's a huge landscape that is just begging to be explored, and it really just takes a moment to stop in a side canyon or sit under the trees and really get to know all the things that this landscape has to offer. It really does start to put things in perspective, I think, for a lot of people. You suddenly feel quite small, and your problems seem quite small as you're standing here on the edge of the canyon, because there's just so much to try to take in. In Grand Canyon, you'll find a whole host of environments, everything from cool fir forests to hot, dry deserts, riparian zones, and over 1 million acres of wild landscape that have been the stage for human exploration and inspiration for generations. Most of Grand Canyon's visitors first arrive on the South Rim. Very few of those folks actually find their way over to the North Rim, and even fewer descend into the canyon itself. Statistics tell us that only about 5% of our visitors actually will drop down below the rim. These folks arrive at the canyon and they find their way to the first viewpoint. They look down into this two-dimensional landscape and feel that they have experienced Grand Canyon. But what they're missing out on is the opportunity to really explore the inner canyon and experience the diversity that this place has to offer. This park has a broad elevational change. So as you descend into the canyon, for every 1,000 feet, you actually gain 3 to 5 degrees Fahrenheit. So at the river's edge, the temperature can be 15 to 25 degrees warmer than on the South Rim. You leave behind the forests, which are more typical of the rim environments, and you enter into a landscape filled with blackbrush and cacti plants that are more typical of and adapted to a desert environment. Traveling further into the inner canyon, you arrive at the Colorado River, and along its edge, you will find a very critical riparian habitat that extends the length of the river itself. We have seeps and springs nestled in side canyons that have a variety of species that are dependent on them. The diversity in the springs alone is unparalleled to any other location in the park. Almost 94% of the park is proposed wilderness. As such, it is managed and protected as though it is wilderness. In Grand Canyon's wilderness, you won't find cars. It's a roadless area where natural quiet is protected. There are places where you can descend below the canyon, where the air is still, where you have only yourself and the rocks around you and the plants, and suddenly your senses become tuned to the lizards scurrying in the rocks, or the sounds of the canyon wren, or the dripping of the springs. Those are the experiences that are wild. Evidence of human life in Grand Canyon extends back thousands of years. Some of our first explorers arrived on the rim, peered down into the canyon as so many people do today, but they saw it as an impassable chasm. They saw it as lifeless, undesirable, a place that no one would ever visit intentionally. These expeditions opened up the opportunity for artists and photographers to capture the imagery of Grand Canyon and share it with the nation and ultimately the world, which really helped to bring about our appreciation for the scenic value of this landscape. Most importantly, what the Grand Canyon has to teach all of us is to slow down, to take it all in, to get to know what is beyond the reaches of the road and look deep within the canyon itself and find that sense of discovery in yourself and that sense of wildness in this place. It's the canyon itself that brings together the human history and the science. It's not just a canyon, it's the grandest canyon. There are deeper, there are wider, there are longer canyons, but none of them are the Grand Canyon.
The stone city of Machu Picchu is one of the most fascinating archaeological sites on the planet. Located northwest of Cusco, Peru, Machu Picchu is a testament to the power and ingenuity of the Inca people. During its prime, the Inca civilization stretched about 2,500 miles along South America's Pacific coastline, from modern-day Ecuador down into Chile. This distance is nearly the horizontal width of the continental United States. Machu Picchu, located at the center of this once expansive empire, is one of the few well-preserved remnants of the Inca civilization. Built around the mid-15th century, Machu Picchu is a stunning example of the Incas' engineering feats. The Inca constructed Machu Picchu's palaces, temples, terraces, and infrastructure using stone, and without the help of wheels or tools made of steel or iron. One particularly notable aspect of their construction is foregoing the use of mortar, a material often used to bind stones together. Nonetheless, the stones of Machu Picchu were cut so precisely that they snugly fit together. Located on two fault lines, Machu Picchu often experiences earthquakes, but because of the stone's exceptional cut and fit, they bounce during tremors and then are able to easily fall back into position. These engineering marvels have preserved Machu Picchu's remarkable condition for over 500 years. Machu Picchu's purpose is still a mystery to many archaeologists. Some theorize that it may have served as a ceremonial site, a military stronghold, or a retreat for nobility. The site's geographic layout may be significant in another way. Many of both the man-made and natural structures appear to align with astronomical events. But in the early 16th century, only about 100 years after it was built, Machu Picchu was abandoned. And since the Inca had no written language, no records exist to explain the exact purpose of the site. Although local communities knew about Machu Picchu, the site remained largely unknown to the outside world for hundreds of years. Spanish conquistadors who invaded the Inca civilization in the 16th century never came across the site. It wasn't until the early 20th century when Melchor Arteaga, a local farmer, debuted Machu Picchu to outsiders when he led Yale University professor Hiram Bingham to the site. Bingham and successive explorers devoted much of their academic careers to studying the archaeological wonder. Despite its enigmatic nature, Machu Picchu still stands as one of the world's most important archaeological sites. It is a testament to the power and ingenuity of one of the largest empires in the Americas. In 1983, UNESCO designated Machu Picchu as a World Heritage Site, and today, visitors from around the world come to pay homage to this piece of history.